Hello everyone, welcome back to Gent Watches, and today we're going to be finishing Ranking of Kings. This is episode 23. It's a bit of an odd number of episodes to, I mean, it's literally an odd number, but it's also an odd number to end a series on, feels like. But I'm not complaining, because that just means they took the exact amount of episodes they needed to. They didn't need 24, they didn't need 25, they needed 23. So, I am keen to finish it today because this has been a good series that I am just going to be like that. I've for a while since it came out, I've always had it sort of on the back burner, so it's going to be satisfying to have it just completed. If you have been watching these videos, thank you very much for joining me on this journey. Please, if you have been watching these videos, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Those are 3 things that really help the channel out, and this is the last time to do it on a Ranking of Kings video, so it's the best time to do it, really. Also, I think I'm going to say that at the end of this video, when I'm doing the episode discussion, I'll also do my thoughts on just like sort of the entire show and what I thought of the entire show. I think that's a good thing to do, to like wrap up the show. It is in the discussion at the end, having my thoughts on all of it. So if you want to know my opinions on the entire show, what I thought of all of Ranking of Kings, then stick around to the end and I will get to it. But anyway, last episode we had most of the stuff be wrapped up except for the fact that Desha is currently has currently accepted a position as #1 on the Ranking of Kings and is now going to the Vault. What his plans are, I'm not quite sure, because he still wants to cure Prince Oaken, I'm assuming, but he was seemingly pretty accepting of the fact that they used up the wish that they were going to use on Oaken on Miranjo instead. Was it on Miranjo? Yes, it was on Miranjo instead. So, yeah, so let's see how they resolve that, if at all. I mean, maybe we won't have, maybe it'll just imply what Desha does, but we won't know. I don't know. Let's get into it. This is going to be the last time I'm hearing this intro, so I better enjoy it. This is such a good intro. Can't read that. Episode 23.
I've decided to take Miranjo as my wife. She's committed grievous sins. But
look how pretty she
grave
is.
injustices herself. I'll forgive it all.
What love can do.
Forgives her, then that's that.
Aww.
No more tears. I promise.
Wow, cool POV shot. Oh, that's so cute. Getting approval from the dead. Miranjo.
What's wrong?
That's a king, all right. He's a king.
I ask that you relinquish the crown to Prince Boji.
Oh, what? Oh,
Precisely my intention.
whoa.
Forgive me. You have my gratitude for showing me what it means to be worthy of the throne.
Doing it all in sign language too. Yes, Kage.
Play the part with my own eyes. Boji's been able to understand you all along by reading your lips.
He's known everything the whole time. He's more than fit. Prince Boji!
Aww. Everyone,
Grown up, and what an exception.
everyone is rallying behind him.
My king!
Oh my god.
Mayor Sori and Justice Minister Sandeo.
Huh.
Where were you two during all this?
His dodging skills. Wow, they put a lot into that.
Break from dodging, Boji.
It is a little scary because a lot of these were trying to kill him at some point or another. Whoa! What a cool shot. Everything the light touches is our kingdom. Aw, Miranjo's smile. Whoa! Don't throw Miranjo on your own. Oh, look at him. Look at all that strength. Holding Miranjo with one hand.
I'm just a common crook. I've got no business hanging around with the king.
You can be like a royal advisor or something.
And you've got unlimited potential.
Don't leave without saying goodbye at least. Let Boji decide.
Congratulations, King Boji.
Wow, people just lining up to congratulate him. There's the paper crown and there's the real crown.
King, it could be that he left King Boji's side of his own accord.
You forgot. Yeah. You forgot that he can lip read. Oh.
Brother, it's something of a miracle when they don't. Fate rarely lets us walk the same path to the end.
That's a good line, damn. Dad looks so happy. Whoa. Whoa. Hey, man. What's up? Oh, right. Ruh-oh. Is it gonna drag the head back or is it gonna follow the head? Whoa. This is awesome. Whoa. Hang on. Is it handled? Or he has to slowly crawl towards that giant fish? This is where they met, right? Wow, the Peanuts casts are here. Oh yeah, you'll love him now that he's rich.
It just occurred to me how long it's been since I last saw your friend. This is what defines a great ruler.
Whoa, what a cool shot. That shot was awesome. With the sun shining in and stuff, it just looked really nice. I mean, I think Kage's putting on a bit of an act, but it's good that he's...
Straight. No more stealing.
Yeah. It's good that he's trying to make a life for himself, you know? He's not just wallowing in his own sorrow.
Better than to underestimate Kage.
Still hasn't... The discrimination still hasn't stopped.
But there's always tomorrow. Huh?
Whoa, already? Snake!
Hey!
He's gonna report back to... I forgot his name.
Heck?
So someone has seen Kage now. So it's only a matter of time. Oh my god, that's creepy.
Cut it out!
Aww. Have I mentioned that he looks like Unknown from Pokemon?
Not remembering.
Look at that confidence.
Boji!
Matters to you. You ought to pursue that something. Find the place where you can shine the brightest and make it your own. And spread your light into the world. With
I love healing. I love healing.
Bebin?
Bebin, that's his name.
You re-relinquish the throne? What, you dumb or something? What's the deal? And start a brand new kingdom yourself?
What?
Oh, easy.
Aww.
Well, sure. I don't doubt you could pull it off, but...
That child is your son.
What a good idea.
What? Ah, heck. Wait, didn't ya? Woo! I It's ransom. Wait, let me catch up, Boji.
Oh, the animation in this episode is so good. Yeah. Oh my god. I'm guessing there's an after credit scene of some sort. I don't think there is. Oh my gosh. Want to see how many notes I took? I don't know if you'll be able to see this. 0 notes. No notes. Empty page. Woo! Okay. So as far as I know, that is where the series ends, right? As far as I know. Of course, anything could continue at any point, and it certainly, the ending was surprisingly open, where if they did actually want to properly continue this series, they absolutely could. I mean, you would just have to, you would just make it about Boji trying to start his own new kingdom from scratch. You would have it be, you know, about Daida's rule, and then Prince Oaken isn't healed. His immortality's still going. And then of course you also have the whole thing with Desha and what he's doing, right? So you've got many plot points that you could go on, but at the same time, it's quite a nice little wrap up at the same time, because a lot of the stuff, you know, you can figure out from the way that they were talking about it how it could go. So that Despa said at some point, like, given enough time, we'll find a solution to Prince Oaken's problem. Like, another thing will come up that will help us. Because, I mean, Prince Oaken has eternity to cure himself from this immortality. And, I mean, again, Kage said, I don't doubt that you can build a kingdom on your own, Boji. And so we can assume, if the series doesn't ever continue, that Prince Boji founds his own kingdom and becomes ruler of that. Daida has already gone through basically his entire character arc. He's a complete character now, so we can assume that he's going to rule the kingdom nicely. And so yeah, the only thing left would be the Desha thing, and I'm guessing Desha would get all the resources from the Ranking of Kings and use those resources to fund research to cure Prince Oaken or whatever it was that he was planning to do. But yeah, regardless, nice, good episode. I mean, it had several like really nice looking shots. I really liked the lighting in this episode, more so than I think any of the other episodes I've seen. The lighting in this episode was really, really nice, and especially that shot where Hilling is just leaning down and talking to Boji about his responsibilities as a king, and the sun is shining in through the back, the window at the back, and everything is just like really, really nice looking. I mean, the OP has that amazing lighting, and it's like, you know, that's obviously never reached in the show because that's a pretty unattainable animation standard, but I mean, that was what that evoked images of the OP, and so it was really nice to see. Yeah, we got Daida relinquishing the throne to Boji, which is something I expected would possibly happen. I did say, although I guess both of the things I thought would happen, because I said that I can totally see that Boji taking over the throne. I can also see Daida staying on the throne, because Daida at this point is worthy of being king just as much as Boji is. His actions, the way he's changed, his strength, all that stuff is very king-like. Well, both happened. Daida gave the throne to Boji, Boji gave it back, and Boji's gonna go make a new throne. So they can both be king at the same time in a way that feels appropriately natural and grand enough for both of them. Like, it doesn't feel like any of them have been, you know, cheated out of a thing or anything, because Daida gets to rule the kingdom that he wanted to rule, and Boji gets to do the amazing legacy of creating his own kingdom like his father did. So that is amazing. And was there any other major wrap-ups we got this episode that I really want to talk about? Otherwise, I'll just jump to my series discussion. And just the fact that Kage, as a character, had improved so much from Boji that he's on his own, and he's still feeling lonely and empty like he was beforehand, but he has Boji's sort of determination and Boji's strong-willed spirit. Like we saw in the first episode how Boji would go through the world with a smile and a laugh, and then when he was alone, he would just cry to himself, and then he would go back out into the world smiling and keeping positive and trying his hardest. And it seems like Kage has learned so much from him at this point. He was trying to do that for himself, trying to be alone and do all of that. And so yeah, it was really nice to see that, even though, I mean, it kind of sucks, but the world hasn't changed, right? They've changed, but the world hasn't. So he's still having trouble out in the real world just because of who he is, but he just has a different attitude about it. So very, very nicely done, very appropriate for the character. But yeah, I think now it's probably time to talk about the series as a whole, Ranking of Kings, because this is an odd series for me to summarize, I think, because so let me think about what I actually think about this show, because it is a tough position to, because there's so many things, there's so many factors in how much I liked this show. I will say the things that I really, really liked were incredibly done. This is a show that was so nicely put together that I think what we have here is a big matter of personal taste, where I generally don't like this style of show. And I think to the end, the style of the show, as in like the art style and stuff like that, is what has probably like held it back for me a little bit. And by held it back for me, like it didn't make me dislike any parts of it. It certainly stopped me from watching it for a long time, until now. I hadn't watched it purely because of the art style. But it has oh man, how do I articulate this? This is really difficult. Well, I'll just be as frank as I can be, while also stipulating that with the fact that I really, really did enjoy the show. And what I am saying is not things that I think the show should have changed, just reasons that certain bits didn't click with me. Because the art style is clearly, for the art style, for the way that they did the art style, they executed it really nicely. I think as a whole, Ranking of Kings is an idea that I'm not a huge fan of, executed perfectly in every way. Like, I guess that's the way to put it. The story is not a story that I really love. Like, I don't love medieval stories. I don't love the idea of like kings and like I watched and enjoyed all of Game of Thrones, but the thing that was holding Game of Thrones back for me a lot of the time was the fact that I didn't really care about medieval politics, and so yeah, and of course but again, that show was so well executed for the most part, for a lot of the show, that it kept me going, and also it was such a cultural phenomenon that it kept me going. So this the plot, the basic plot of the show is something that I wasn't a fan of. The art style I wasn't a fan of, and the character designs, about maybe 30% of the character designs I wasn't a fan of. Including, and this is where it's kind of sad, but including Kage and Boji, their character designs. Again, this isn't me saying I think they should have been different. I don't think they should have been different. I think for the show that they were trying to create, this was perfect. And I think for a lot of people, those are going to be the selling points as well. Some people, this sort of art style being pulled off this well, is something that they've looked for, you know. For a lot of people, the fact that Kage is an emotional and three-dimensional character, despite literally being a two-dimensional character, like literally being a blob of ink on the ground, that has a lot of meaning. The purpose behind his character is the fact that he is that what people see is this weird monster that's almost like first enemy you face in an RPG dungeon type of enemy, almost lazily designed, just ink splots on the page. Like the fact that that character is an important character, is a well-developed character, and is a friend to Boji and stuff. Like the fact that they go through that sort of discrimination, that theming wise, it's great. It's really good. At the same time, I like looking at good character designs. I like looking at interesting characters. And so when one of the major characters is just 2 dots with arms, it's less interesting to me. Just as a whole, it's less interesting. I do think ProZD did a good job. I'm calling him ProZD. That's just his YouTube channel name. Sungwon Cho did a great job with his voice. Especially, I've also heard the Japanese voice. So both actors did a great job with the voice, and it shows, you know, and it's the kind of voice you would expect for this sort of character. It's also the kind of voice that makes him inherently feel like a bit of a weird, like purely a sidekick, you know? But then they redeem that through his actions, make him more than a sidekick, I would say. But again, those are I hesitate to even call them criticisms of the show, because they're not because criticisms of the show sound like I'm trying to get that to change. I'm just justifying why this show might not have been one of my top shows, but still really enjoyed it, and I don't regret a second of watching it. I really enjoyed it. I want to talk about the things I love, though, because I actually don't like talking about things I didn't like about a show. I think you could probably tell while I was talking about it, I was uncomfortable with it. I don't like it. It's not a very fun thing to do. I don't think it's an incredibly constructive thing to do as well, generally, is to constantly talk about things you don't like. I think if you do talk about things you don't like, you should vastly outweigh it with things you do like. And if you don't like an entire show, you should probably just say, wasn't for me. The fact that was giving that much quote-unquote negatives for Ranking of Kings is because I know that the positives greatly outweigh the negatives of this show. So I love the idea of Boji as a character. I mean the execution of Boji as a character. This character that is deaf and mute and has had all of his strength taken away. I mean, these are things that really, really, really disadvantage him in life. And seeing him grow and rise up, and at no point in the story is his power given back. It is that he learns to cope with what he has. He never learns to hear, he never learns to talk, and he never gets his power back. And yet, he still ends on top. On the very top. He's I mean, you know, not the top of the Ranking of Kings, but he still ends as the king, and then he gets to make his own decision about his future. These are incredible things that he's able to do, while still having the disabilities that he has, and that's amazing. I love the fact that it incorporated sign language. The sign language in this show was awesome. The great cast of characters, all with different motivations, incredibly written, very well done. The way that the story weaves itself, and in this sort of unexpected way, about halfway through the show, you saw I was trying to predict the way that it was going every episode, and I kept getting it wrong because I didn't know. I had no idea. The way that the show could be very dark, but didn't force itself to be dark. It just let the darkness come and go as it needed to be there. And that was very nice as well. It wasn't like they were trying to shock you with a tonal shift, which it's cool when shows do that as well. I like when shows shock you with the tonal shift as well. I'm sure, like, you know, shows like Madoka Magica and stuff like that. Shows that the tonal shift of the show. I mean, even Steins Gate is a good example of that. Like, the tonal shift, the absolute crazy tonal shift, gives you whiplash. And that whiplash is part of the emotional experience of watching the show. Because then when it whips back to nice and happy stuff that makes your heart warm, it's even warmer. I think that's amazing. But this show, it sort of had just like a natural peaks and valleys, you know, natural dips, and nothing ever felt tonally inconsistent. Nothing ever felt like it whipped to one point or another. It was just all, you know, appropriate. I mean, when Daida goes in to gain power, we know that he's going in there for an evil reason. So when he watches his father's body be turned into a smoothie that he has to drink, then like it's not, they don't show it as this incredibly like messed up, horrible, makes you want to vomit out of nowhere from this kids show to that. Like it built it up to that so that we expected something crazy was happening, and when it was happening, it was like, it was shocking, of course, but it didn't feel like a you know, whiplash. And oh my gosh, the OPs of this show, I am a sucker for a good OP. The EDs were very nice and tranquil and stuff. I probably won't revisit them, but I watched them a lot and I really enjoyed them. But the OPs of this show, oh my gosh. The first OP was super catchy and cool, and the song is great, and I've got the song on my Spotify playlist now. Amazing. So good. And then the second OP, that's the sort of thing that I absolutely love in OPs, and that director who does those OPs, because he also, I'm pretty sure, does the Jujutsu Kaisen OPs, he is an incredible OP director, and his style is so, I think it's a he, I'm sorry if I'm getting his pronouns wrong, but incredible style to those OPs, and so distinct, but so amazing. Just the way, the smooth motion and the lighting, and the syncing with the song, it's all so good. I just like I constantly have in my head the when it kicks into the chorus and it has like the mirror floating up and it's the cracked mirrors going back into the mirror, and then it shows young Miranjo in the mirror smiling, and that's when the beat drops. That whole thing is like an incredible sequence that I really, really love. And like I remember Oaken looking to the side with the like light shining behind him. I remember like the mirror reading bedtime stories to Daida. These like images from this OP just like stuck in my head. I love it. I absolutely love it. So that was amazing as well. I mean, yeah, great dub. I feel like I never really need to comment on the dub, or on the voice acting in general, especially when I'm watching English dubs, because I know that a lot of people will have watched the show in sub, so they don't actually really care about the English dub and how good it was. But I love English dubs, and this one was great. I didn't even need to comment on it, because I just thought it was all great. And Hilling, my gosh, favorite character. I'm locking it in. Done. Great resolution to her character's relationship with Boji, in that she basically was faced with this, like, okay, he's on the throne now, and this is my moment to teach him that being king is hard. But she does that, and then she also sits down and goes, but you have to also look for what you want to do. So what is it that you want? And that's an important lesson to learn, and it's so great. That's so brilliant. So yeah, I think that's it. I think I'm talked out. That was a great thing. Oh, Miranjo, I love Miranjo. She's my second favorite character. I just wanted to make sure that was there. I would have liked to see Miranjo a bit at the end, after she had sort of recovered from the shock of everything, you know, like a few weeks later, and see what she was doing as Daida's wife, and you know, whatever she would do in the castle. I would have liked to see a little bit more of that, just to enjoy her post-character development. But other than that, brilliant, great show, good job, Ranking of Kings. Thank you very much. So if you watched to the end, amazing. Thank you very much for staying here. I love having you, and I mean, this is a special moment that only we're sharing, because a lot of other people will have left by this point, so it's just me and you. Hey, how you going? So thank you very much for watching. Make sure to like the video if you did enjoy it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. This is the last chance you have to do if you haven't subscribed already, because the subscribe button is going to be locked after you finish watching this video, so you better do it right now. And comment down below your thoughts on the show, on this episode, on anything. Put your comments down below, and suggestions for things for me to do in the future. In I think it'll probably be in 2 days from when this video comes out. I will probably be starting a new show. If tomorrow is Devil's a Part-Timer, the day after will probably be a new show. I have an idea of what I kind of want to do, but you know, you can still comment down below suggestions, and they might either go in the future or they might go in that slot. Who knows? Regardless, comment down below. It will really help. But yeah, stick around to see what's coming up. Thank you for watching this episode, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.